Factsverse presents. If you ever see this in a cemetery, run away fast. Most people visit cemeteries during the day to pay respect to their loved ones who've passed on. During the day, cemeteries are peaceful, quiet places. Some people even call them beautiful. At night, though, the look and feel of a cemetery really changes. At night, things look a lot more scary. When you think of all the dead bodies under the ground at night, it can be a pretty creepy place. Well, one day a Reddit user who calls himself Cynical Soup had a huge scare while visiting a cemetery near his home in Alabama. If you ever see this in a cemetery, you should run in the other direction fast. Before I tell you what that is, though, why don't you click that like button, and also be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. When he first arrived at the cemetery, nothing looked out of the ordinary. It was peaceful and quiet. It appeared he was alone that day in the cemetery. Each of the graves looked like they did each time he visited, but on this day he noticed something terrifying. There were some above-ground vaults that were no longer properly sealed. As he explored for a bit longer, he realized some of the vaults were opened completely. He actually saw human bones in one of the vaults. He was disgusted. He couldn't believe that there were actually people who would open up the vaults to steal belongings off of people's loved ones. As the Reddit user walked through the cemetery, he also noticed that there were more and more open vaults and more exposed bodies. When he made the discovery, he contacted the police to let them know what was happening there. Since the cemetery was established in 1817, there were no spaces left for people to be buried in. Because of that, it wasn't often that the groundskeepers did any work in the cemetery. It's also why the problem was able to go on unnoticed for so long. When police investigated, they saw all of the open vaults. Unfortunately, they were not able to tell what or if anything was stolen from the bodies because they'd been there for so long. In many cases, the only family members that people in the open vaults had were also buried in the cemetery. According to police, grave robberies are not uncommon in cemeteries this old. It's because people don't often visit loved ones in old cemeteries because most of the families have passed on themselves. After the Reddit user contacted the police, they contacted the groundskeepers to close up the open vaults. What the grave robbers did by exposing the dead to the earth again was not only sick, it was also disrespectful. The groundskeepers worked for days getting the caskets and the vaults closed up again. Also, the police said that they were planning to keep a closer eye on the cemetery. Unfortunately, the police found no clues as to who was responsible for robbing the graves. The police say crimes like these are pretty hard to solve. There are no cameras in these cemeteries, so there's really no photo evidence. And the people who rob these graves, they often wear gloves because it's the only way to open the graves without hurting their hands. And most grave robbers don't discuss their crimes with others. According to the Reddit user, he was glad that it was daytime when he visited the cemetery and made this discovery. If it had been during the night and he saw the open graves, he would have been terrified. Initially, the Reddit user assumed that maybe the graves were moved and open due to a severe storm like Hurricane Katrina. After police told the man that severe weather couldn't open a vault, he realized the reason for his discovery then was much darker. In his post, he said that it's only right to let the dead rest in peace. These people are lovingly put into the ground by their family members. Special things are chosen for these people to wear before they are put in the ground. It's only right to let the dead rest in peace. Whoever's responsible for disrupting the dead and stealing from them should be ashamed of themselves. There are some pretty horrible crimes committed each day, and grave robbing certainly is one of them. So what do you think? What should happen if these grave robbers are caught? What should their punishment be? Tell us in the comments below. And subscribe for more.